Heat's coming in a little heavier today. Bring it in. Bring it in. Celsius watermelon ice. This is my playoff juice, if you will. Welcome to the AllTalk podcast, Boyd Sports Fantasy Football League podcast, episode number 10. I am your host, Buzz Magic, a.k.a. Chris Franklin, a.k.a. Franklin Rose. Co-host, the commish, a.k.a. Jeremy Boulder, a.k.a. Boulder's Ballers. What is up?
I tell you what's not up. The Shanks going down, baby.
Shanks went down. Hey, those texts got quiet, didn't they?
They got real quiet. The text thread got real quiet. So, sorry, I jumped ahead.
The 1 o'clock games, texts were flying all over the place from 1 o'clock until about 5:30. And about 5:30 got a little quiet. You know why? Because the big ticket punched his ticket to the semifinals. That's what happened. He is playing underdog. Big ticket is talk of the town right now. He came in hot, put up 130, beating the Shanks 130 to 120.5. What do you think about that, Commish?
I think that's a good win. I mean, I thought it was a 50-50 matchup coming into it, truly. The Shanks were coming in hot off a really good win, especially with McCaffrey coming off a bye week, coming in hot too. He wasn't sure who to start at quarterback. That was the topic of last week's podcast. He started the right one because he would have got a landslide loss if he started Joey B. So he made the right call there. Just it's a tight game, but really, I mean, big tickets teams, especially with his kicker, just really was
kicker 24 points.
Stop saying that. And people undervalue kickers when you draft. Never undervalue a good kicker. A kicker can win you a game, and in this case, a playoff game.
You know, I'm looking at the matchup right now, and he had some players underproduced. Tyler Warren did not hit his projection. R.J. Harvey, I think, running back for the Broncos, had an injury that kind of slowed him down in the second half. Zay Flowers hit his mark, but Zay, hasn't exploded like Brett needs him to. Lamar Jackson, same thing. Lamar came under production, but what really saved the day was Jason Myers, a kicker for the Seattle Seahawks, and Kyron Williams, which helped me fuzz Magic out a little bit. Kyron had a couple touchdowns in that game and really put him over the hump. So congrats to Big Ticket.
Big Ticket, man. Having Kyrie Williams scoring 2 touchdowns was great. He needed for this next matchup, he really needs Bucky Irving to go off and have a game. That would be a nice security blanket. And Zay Flowers, to me, he's been up and down, but he got the touchdown. You're exactly right. And his kicker, you can't. I'm a big believer. I don't believe in drafting a kicker last. I just don't. If you can get a good kicker in his situation, he did, it will win you a playoff game, and obviously it pays off.
Hey, for years, Justin Tucker was the guy to have, right?
Yes.
People would reach in the draft to get Justin Tucker, and he was pretty automatic until he had his little situation.
For the Shanks, Breece Hall really let him down, and Hunter Henry is tight end. Both of them, his flex and his tight end, really let him down. But then I started looking at his bench, like, if he had started someone else, would it have changed the outcome? And really, it would. Even if he had started Rico Dowell, the math still would have been down. So, I mean, no matter who he started, he was losing the Big Ticket.
Yeah, Big Ticket advanced. So, Big Ticket moves on to face the Bad News Bears. Pretty lopsided projections going into this matchup, but it's playoff time. Anything can happen. I know talking with Dave, little sidebar on the sideline this Sunday, we were talking about, how Jonathan Taylor has carried him all year, but Jonathan Taylor, things have changed for Jonathan Taylor. He's got Old Man River at the helm for the Indianapolis Colts, and they're going to stack the box, like you said.
It's going to be interesting, too, especially with the Lions matchups coming up. You got St. Brown with 41 points last week. Dave has to hope he gets those kind of numbers again, but the odds, those are like once-in-a-year type numbers for players. You got to assume he comes back down to reality to that 20-point margin. So Dave's got to have Brock Bowers and a few other guys really step up. And honestly, Devontae Adams, who's questionable now, typically has a 20, 25-point game with Matthew Stafford, but he had a low 11-point game last week. So, and again, he's got arguably one of the best kickers in fantasy football. He drafted Aubrey from the Cowboys. That guy's always scoring, because the Cowboys can't typically score a lot in pressure situations. So he's kicking long-range field goals, getting extra points. So he's got a good team. His bench is strong too, but I think everybody he's starting right now last week is probably going to be his starting matchup again. And obviously, I think projections-wise, you would think Bad News Bears should win this matchup. But as we all know, it just takes one bad game from one player or two players, and the other team have somebody have a career day. So you never know what's going to happen.
Injuries. We were just talking in our pre-production meeting. Roma Dunze, he was on my bench, didn't impact me, but he impacted other fantasy players. I guarantee you that. He was a late scratch in the pregame warm-ups, and he was locked in. You were locked in your lineup and
Oh yeah.
put up a goose egg again.
For any poor people in America that had to have him as one of your top wide receivers to play the other day, oh man, that was a bad late scratch right there. That ruined a lot of people's days.
It was, another thing I want to touch on with Bad News Bears. He's got T. Higgins. T has been a good producer this year, but he's been in and out with injuries, concussion protocol. So he's going to have to decide between Devontae Adams and T. Higgins. I think that's his biggest dilemma going into this week's matchup.
He's got to decide on somebody right now because T. Higgins was out last week, so he was on IR. Now he's technically questionable, could still be out, but he's on. He's going to have to wait till, I guess, probably more so Saturday to see if he has to cut somebody. Because if T. Higgins becomes healthy again, he has to drop somebody for a roster move. He's got a pretty good lineup, so that's a really tough decision to make.
Yeah, he does. Going into our matchup, ours meaning Fuzz Magic, we're advancing to the semifinals. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! We had taken out Big Mick Energy. I'll be honest, I texted Mick last night. That was a little tougher game than I expected. I thought I was going to take him to the cleaners, but he put up a fight. It was back and forth all day Sunday. We came in down to the wire Monday night matchup. He had Chris Boswell, the kicker, with a 3.2 point lead on Fuzz Magic, who had Devon Achane, who had a rib injury in the previous week that had me a little nervous, if I'm being honest. One shot to the ribs, and he could have been out. But
yeah,
Achane produced, walked away with the win by 10 points. And I'm going to advance. But
that's
he had
great.
that combo. Yeah, he had that combo of Stafford and Puka that just kept on coming, man.
And that's one thing, too. Yeah, Puka, he didn't have any touchdowns, but goodness gracious, 9 receptions, 181 yards. It seems to be a normal day. That's just a normal day at the office for him.
He's a monster.
So I know that's how he beat me. So you got to give me Big Mick Energy was projected 120 points and ended up with 147.2. So, his team overproduced and really made that a game. So, for a team, and I think this is the only, actually I can say it is the only team in our league that did not officially make a trade, get a trade passed, I should say. So this is his OG drafted team making it to the playoffs and honestly putting up a run for the money with your team. So kudos to him. He's got a really drafted really well, had a good team, and the good news is for the rest of the league, Puka is no longer a keeper. He's a free agent now.
That's right. And as our listeners know, we have 3rd round and 6th round keepers. So you draft somebody 4th round back is a 3rd round keeper, and 7th round back is a 6th round keeper. So he was definitely a good one this year for Big Nick Energy. But
hey, I have to say for you, I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I just look at Jalen Hurts, who had a terrible game last week.
I told
you. Which you would have
Super
lost
Bowl
last week if
champ.
it was the playoffs. But then he comes in with not a lot of yardage, not an impressive day through the air, but 3 touchdowns. I would say that's what put you over the edge. The rest of your team did what they're supposed to do. But him, based off the week before, if he has a bad game, you're going home right now. So he really stepped up.
I know, and I had confidence in him. Super Bowl champ, right? He's gritty, man. You look at his career, right? He was at Alabama. Tua comes in, knocks him out in the national title game. He goes to Oklahoma and puts up numbers and produces. And then NFL, he's had a good career. Jalen Hurts had more touchdowns, a tush push, right? I saw some stat like three times the amount of rushing touchdowns as anyone else. He's one of those guys that you want on your fantasy football team and your real football team. I truly believe that. I'm happy. I'm proud to have Jalen Hurts on my team, Jeremy.
Hey, also, I think you got, I don't say lucky's not the right word. You did very good with Achane last night for that blowout game that really happened. For him to get almost 19 points in a blowout game, a running back, that's really, really fortunate. So it worked out great.
He's projected over 28 points this week. That's a high projection. So I'm looking forward. I'm lifting my chops this week for Volkswagen, which let's talk about that rebrand. Right, so that's the matchup. I'm going to the number 2 seed, which was formerly Cobra Kai, and he changed his name to Volkswagen, which I have to question. That's something you do in the preseason, off-season. That's an off-season project.
It is.
He's rolling it out for the playoffs.
It could be some bad juju.
That Volkswagen, I think, might run out of gas, Jeremy.
Yeah, it might. It could be some bad juju here. Yeah, he had a good week playing himself. here with nobody, but it didn't matter. But next week, he changed the name, he changes the juju, he changes the flow of his front office in his locker room. He's already cruising. I love it. I love the name. I love the logo. I think he should have had that from week one, which did exist. He just didn't want to use it, but he put it in now. We'll have to see what happens here. But that should be a good matchup between both of you. He had Jared Goff, who has a much tougher matchup next week, but had a heck of a game this past week. Even though his guys, it didn't matter. But how often, like Jared Cook, he got 3 touchdowns. I hope he didn't use all the gas this week and didn't save any for next week. Everybody in his bench, or even his team, is scoring like McBride, 37 points.
McBride,
better hope they come back to play next week.
Hey, I was happy to see that. I was happy to see Bad News Bears and Volkswagen put up 160 this week. Go ahead, get it out of your system. Get it out of your system.
That's usually how it goes.
I was looking at the projections for this upcoming week in matchups, and projections are projections, right? But it's no secret that there's a reason why the 4 teams standing are still in it. Looking at the quarterback this week, Jalen Hurts is the number 1 projected quarterback, followed by Josh Allen, right? So 2 playoff teams. You go to the running backs, right? Devon Achane, as mentioned, Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. That's Bad News Bears, Fuzz Magic. Christian McCaffrey just got bounced out of the playoffs with the Shanks. Wide receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigma, right? We've talked about him all year. He has been unbelievable. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka, there he is, Jamar Chase. So these are some common names. Trey McBride, number 1 tight end. George Kittle, number 2. That's who I've got. So these players are proving to continue to score points going into the playoffs. I don't know if we'll have the point explosion this week that we had this previous week. Everyone scored points. You scored points. We talked about it. You would have won a first-round matchup had you got in. Why don't you tell the audience about what happened there?
Yeah. So Daddy Bombshells, he's watching here. He knows what he did. Honest mistake, whatever. You know what? It is the Shanks say could have been a shoulda. But you know what? I'm just saying what could have happened and what should have happened. If Daddy Bombshells hadn't have illegally started a player from his IR in his active roster, the Shanks would have lost, which then had a worse record. I would have had a better record even with my loss. And with points, I would have been in the playoffs. And then with my points this week, I would have beat the big chicken. And I'd be rolling in over there in the playoffs, second round of the playoffs. So, but I'm not. And it's okay. Don't worry, Daddy Bombshells. I won't forget. I don't hold a grudge.
Not at all. No, you don't seem bitter at all.
But that's it. That's how important one player on a matchup can affect an entire season. That's how important it is.
Well, look, I'm excited, clearly, going into the semifinals. I think it's been a great season to this point. Hope we've got some good matchups going in for the semis. I think that's a wrap for episode 10, Boulder. I think we're going to come back next week, right before Christmas, have episode 11 going into the championship Christmas holiday. Hey, just real quick for the audience, what's on your wish list for Santa Claus? What's on your list for Santa? What are you looking for this Christmas?
Oh man, I can't wait for Santa to come down the chimney. And I don't really have something that I really, really want. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't really have it. That's don't really need anything. Now with kids, it's like, what do they want? So what about you? I don't really know.
Tell you what I want. I want a fantasy football championship, Jeremy. That's what I want.
Oh, okay. That was a loaded question. All right.
Let me get that cash.
That jingle.
Little jingle in my pocket.
Yeah, that'll help. That'll help with the old presence there. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, you might. You never know. The cash is sitting over there with our CFO of the Fantasy Football League.
I almost forgot. It was asked amongst the members. Playoffs. Do you get the top scorer of the week still get $10 for playoff weeks?
No, if everybody in the league would read the bylaws that I sent out preseason and then also midseason before the trade deadline, it says only the 14 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, you guys should start reading that stuff.
Only $140 is allocated to that. Now, Dave,
I was hoping you said yes because it'd be a technicality because Dave outscored Tim by like 0.4 points. Which was also in another world that Brandon Aubrey, the kicker for Dallas, he ran. There was like a fake kick, and he ran it for like, so many yards.
I think it was 6 yards.
Difference.
Yeah.
That was the difference, right? So that would have been crazy if they played. But technically, their scores didn't count. They're not logged as games. They didn't play anybody. So I would have been the point leader for this week.
I think that's why we don't do it. So, but yeah. Dave, Bad News Bears was the regular season champion, so he has collected his $200 in past go.
Congratulations.
So he's got that. Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. Episode 10, AllTalk podcast. Remember, like, subscribe, share with your friends, watch it like 10 times, pump up the numbers. We love you guys. We'll see you guys next week right here every Thursday. AllTalk, baby.
Drink your Celsius. Woo. Love it. Lay off time, baby. Scotch down in.